We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right? Amazing. How good. Short-term. We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. We go forward more determined than ever to achieve ultimate victory.
President Donald Trump's statements there really make it seem as though he's looking for an exit route when it comes to this war on Iran. But honestly, just one look at what's being dubbed Hebrew Twitter, because the accounts are in Hebrew, and you'll notice that maybe the war isn't going so well for the Israelis either. Now, you might have noticed that there is a bit of a, media blackout in Israel when it comes to what they're going through when it comes to this war, right? It's very hard to come across footage of some of the destruction or some of the pain that Iran has caused as a result of this misguided and incredibly stupid war. And that's very much on purpose, by the way, because the army, meaning the Israeli army, has banned live broadcasts of the Israeli skyline when alarms have been sounded to warn of incoming missiles or drones. In fact, images of air defenses intercepting incoming missiles had been a major part of the coverage at the start of the war and was a feature in the coverage of the June 2025 war between Israel and Iran. However, this is now forbidden. That could be because of the fact that a lot of the interceptors have been failing and a lot of the missiles and drones have been hitting Tel Aviv. So some US media has also disclosed that they're being restricted in what they can and can't report and film. Everything needs to be approved by the Israelis before it's published. In fact, I'll give you a little example of what they say sometimes when they let it slip. Take a look.
We're not going to show this live because we don't show this live, but I do see interceptors going up from where I can stand. We just saw one go up there. We're not showing you that because we're not going to show, the Israeli government does not allow us or want us to show where that may have come up, that interceptor, but I've not seen it intercept anything.
Again, Iran continues to show an offensive capability, launching missiles at central Israel. We have one interceptor over my shoulder right now. We can't show you because we can't show landmarks.
There was also a barrage of strikes coming from Hezbollah in Lebanon because Israel thought this was a great opportunity to reopen another front with Lebanon and go to war with them. And Hezbollah is striking back. So the thing is, I don't know what the death toll is in Israel. Like, we don't know how much damage there's been because there's very little reporting on it. And the real question is why? And this isn't really new. In fact, an investigation by the Israeli publication 972 magazine found that, breaking new records, Israel sees unprecedented spike in media censorship. That awesome democracy in the region? Yeah. Israel, they're censoring the media. In 2024, Israel's military censor banned 1,635 articles from publication and partially redacted another 6,265, part of a wider assault on press, freedom of press. They also slaughtered journalists in Gaza and recently slaughtered another female journalist. I had the devastating experience of watching her young daughter cry after learning that her mother, again, a Palestinian journalist in Gaza, was slaughtered by the Israelis. Anyway, but here's the thing with Hebrew Twitter, meaning Israelis posting on X in Hebrew, we get a bit of a peek into what's happening in Tel Aviv, and it's not pretty at all. Let's go to this post on X from a gentleman named Hillel. Everything, not this one, but there have been a lot of posts that had to be translated from Hebrew to English. But he writes, Iran just fired another cluster bomb at central Israel and killed one person with several others seriously injured. A cluster bomb into a crowded city. Dear UN, Amnesty International, ICJ, meaning the International Criminal Court, which has a warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu's arrest because of his war crimes, and all you fake human rights activists who pretend you care about international law, F you. I'm sorry, was there a problem with the war you ordered? Did you? This is the thing. When Israel, with the help of the United States, dismantles the whole notion of international law, you don't get to cry about other countries committing war crimes against you, because what's good for the goose is good for the mother effing gander, okay? I don't want civilians to perish. I don't want people to get killed. But Israel did this. When you slaughter tens of thousands, I think the number's higher, hundreds of thousands of people in Gaza, and you just think, well, we have God tier immunity from international law. We don't have to suffer any consequences for anything. Other countries are gonna look at your conduct, look at your behavior and say, great, I guess the rules don't apply to any of us. So congratulations. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yoav Kaufman writes, not gonna lie, feeling a bit down. Maybe it's being mostly stuck at home the last almost 2 weeks and knowing it'll be another 4 or 5 weeks at least. Oh, seems like the Israelis are being informed way more than the Americans are in regard to how long this war is gonna drag on. Sirens and missiles still happening frequently enough to disrupt sleep. Gee, I wonder how all those people in Gaza who had their homes razed are sleeping in their tents, knowing that they can hear the drones above their heads, knowing that Israel decides to do strikes against them in their tents sporadically, allegedly firing at Hamas, right? But anyway, he continues, the cause is good though, if and when we achieve regime change, which, sorry, Yoav, isn't gonna happen. Enjoy the shelter. Alon writes, the historic victory over Iran and Hezbollah was so historic that we're now sitting in the shelter for the 4th time today, after a series of combined barrages from Iran and Hezbollah. Now remember, Iran and Hezbollah didn't just start attacking Israel out of nowhere. Israel and the United States attacked first. Like, what did they expect to happen? That they wouldn't be attacked, that there wouldn't be any retaliation? And they are getting sick of their shelters. There's a video that shockingly CBS published featuring beachgoers in Tel Aviv fleeing for their lives as they hear the sirens go off. So let's take a quick look at that. Who wants to live like that? I mean, they just wanted to enjoy the beach. Sorry, your beach vacay was disrupted. But there's more posts. I want to go to this one. This is from Misa Rumi, who says, we're facing a great ordeal and seek the Lord's assistance for deliverance. And as you can see in her post, she included some footage of missiles and interceptors, which she could get into a lot of trouble for posting because the Israeli government doesn't want the residents of Israel doing that. But my personal favorite is this. The news of Banaya's passing, son of Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, has left us heartbroken. May his memory forever be a blessing, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. I'm just gonna leave that there, and you guys can do with that information what you will. And then there are posts showing some of the damage that Iran's missiles and drones have caused. Trey Yinks, it might be one of the only reporters who's been able to report on the ground in Israel and actually show us some pretty devastating footage of what the Israelis are going through. So let's take a look at the next video.
Rescue crews searched through a destroyed apartment in the heart of Tel Aviv. Piles of concrete and rubble lay on a walkway nearby. This is the aftermath of a cluster munitions strike.
Then I went to this shelter. You can see this shelter. To this shelter, and let's say few seconds after the siren was a very huge explosion.
First responders are here at a scene in Tel Aviv where an Iranian cluster munition exploded after it was launched in the latest ballistic missile barrage. You can see the amount of rubble and debris here. First responders say multiple people are being treated with shrapnel injuries, and there are at least a dozen impact sites.
Now, public polling out of Israel indicates that the Israeli population is still highly supportive of this war. And when I say this war, I mean, it's kind of leaving out the fact that they're taking drone strikes and missile strikes from Hezbollah out of Lebanon simultaneously. Congratulations, I guess. I don't think any of this needs to happen. None of it. But this is what Netanyahu wanted specifically. And I guess he's done a great job convincing the Israeli population that this is all in their best interest, as their homes are being destroyed, as they're running into shelters multiple times a day. Who, again, wants to live like this? I just don't get it. And it doesn't look like the Iranian regime will be toppled. Final thing I'll go to is there was footage on Monday showing several cluster munitions from an Iranian medium-range ballistic missile hitting central Israel. Again, this was on Monday morning. Let's take a quick look at that. There isn't that much to see there, but that is central Israel. You can see that, there wasn't an interceptor that struck that down. Nothing intercepted it. Obviously, there are strikes that hit the ground, hit buildings, hit civilian infrastructure, which, is a war crime. There's no question about that. But in this new age that we're living in, apparently war crimes don't matter. When you have one country, again, dismantle the whole notion of international law, well, you have a world of pain to look forward to. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So the lack of reporting, the insane censorship that's going down in Israel right now really counters the argument that Israel is a free and open democratic society, doesn't it? I mean, I already knew that, considering the fact that they operate an apartheid state where they won't allow the Palestinians to have their own state and own government, and instead decide, no, we're just going to force you to live under our rule, under subpar conditions. We're going to mow the lawn in Gaza. We're going to continue taking more and more territory. We're going to allow Israeli settlers to rain terror on Palestinians in the West Bank and steal their homes, steal their land. That's not a democracy. Sorry. So it remains to be seen whether the Israeli public is going to, wake up to the fact that this is not really benefiting them at all. But who knows? They've got those expansionist dreams, and I think they're willing to do just about anything to have those, borders expand at any cost. So we're seeing some of those costs right now.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.